going on, everybody? Here with another episode of the Slackercast. I am Greg, and with me today, as always, is Lawrence.
Yo, what's up?
Also joining us again is from the S'mores and Doors Cop podcast, and now I think radio station is Corey.
What's up?
And joining us briefly, don't know for how long, with some very curly hair, is Dustin.
What's up, everybody?
Look at
What's going on, man?
what is that chia pet thing on the front of your head right there? What is that?
Don't be jealous because you can't grow hair, okay? Like this.
I don't know what I am right now, but jealous is not the word.
He's kind of got a Dennis Robb look going right now, don't he?
Yeah.
Well, I had grown my hair out for like 8 months, and I was going to cut it into a mullet, but then I had divorce court, so I cut it all off, and now I'm growing it back out again.
You didn't want to lose that case, huh, Dustin?
No. My hair looked like shit, too, so I had to just cut it.
Well, Dustin, since you'll only be with us briefly, I'll go ahead and let you jump in and tell us what you've been having going on during the week.
Not much. Finally started selling some cards and made like $300+ this week, just in the last couple days.
So tell me about this card thing, man, because everybody's on this right now. So, like, is it just any cards, or is it, like, specifically Pokemon and basketball cards?
Well, I mean, you can do Pokemon. I don't do Pokemon. I do basketball and football. And but I sold 2 LaMelo Ball cards, one for $200, one for $80. And then I sold another card. It was a Theo Maladon rookie card, autograph rookie card. I sold that for $10 because he's like a second-round pick or whatever. But just depends on the person. Like LaMelo Ball's top rookie in the NBA, so his card is the hottest right now. And I happened to get a pink Prism, which is like a rare card. That's the one I sold for $200. And then his other rookie card I just sold for $80 just about 20 minutes ago.
So my question is, like, I'm assuming you're selling the locals and not, like, online?
No, it's through eBay. I have a shop on eBay. Raw Dog Cards 84.
Raw Dog Cards 84. Check it out if you're into the card thing right now, because that is a huge, huge hit. Like, it's so bad that my store actually is limiting people now. Like, you can't buy, like, 4 and 5 boxes. I think they'll only limit you to 1 box, maybe even only a couple packs.
Well, I think Target quit selling them, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like altogether?
Target stopped selling them altogether, yeah.
Yeah.
Last week when I went to Walmart, because I get early access into Walmart because I'm a vendor, I went there and it was fully stocked, grabbed a couple boxes, and then when I went back to look and see if anything more, there was like 3 people there, and they were literally just shoveling the stuff into their carts.
What?
Like, how much is a box?
About $45. So the bigger boxes that have about 10 packs in them, they're about $45. And then you can turn around and put that box on eBay for $100 in an auction, and you can get anywhere from $100 to $300. I mean, I've seen some boxes go for $300 to $400.
So is it more beneficial to sell the entire box or open it up and try to get like those treasure cards that are going to sell for more?
Well, scalpers, they just sell boxes. The lingo is, they call it wax. They sell wax. Like me, I'm a collector, so I buy a couple boxes, I rip them open, I see what I got, I keep the cards that I like, and then I sell the ones that are worth money that I don't really care about.
Isn't that the funnest?
I have like 5 cards. One's a Dennis Rodman card, one's a Magic Johnson card, a Charles Barkley card, and a Cam Newton card that are worth nothing. And those are my prized cards.
Corey, we've talked about this in the past on the phone. Isn't that like the funnest part though? Is just like opening the cards. Like get it, you open it, and like that's what you really get addicted to is the opening of the cards and like just looking and see what you got.
Something I was going to say about this whole issue going on right now, which is weird, is like cards in the late 80s and early 90s were called junk wax because they made so much of it. It was just overproduced like crazy. So a lot of it's valueless. But even that shit's going up in price. So it's just a weird time.
Dude, I kid you not. I had backpack bags completely full of fucking cards that I just collected, and I ended up throwing them all in the trash. Back when we were all into collecting basketball cards and shit.
Yeah.
Hell, you used to be able to find them at like garage sales and such, by like the box fulls. Parents selling them.
Did you ever have baseball cards and stuff?
I think Dustin had to head out, so I'm gonna take him out of here. Wanted to give him some time to talk about that though, because I know he's big into it right now.
It's a big deal right now. It's kind of crazy.
It kind of makes me want to jump on board, but I don't know if I'm willing to make that investment. Is the thing.
It's like buying a stock high right now, though. You know, it's going to go down eventually.
Yep.
So, you know, it's tempting, but I'm trying to stay away from it.
Yeah, and Greg, you're collecting NECA dolls right now, so it'd be hard to get into the cards.
Not really. I own 3. 2 of which were given to me.
Well, there you go.
So you failed on that one, Lawrence.
Yeah. Which ones were they, though?
Which ones do I have?
Mm-hmm.
I have the 2018 Michael Myers. I have the Annabelle doll, which that one's actually really cool. It comes with a little box to put her in and such like that. You know, absolutely do not touch everything on it. That one's cool. And then I have the one I bought, which was what one was that? Oh, yeah, the Pinhead one. The Ultimate Hellraiser one.
This might lead into your discussion later, but I have the original Leatherface.
Oh, Dustin's back with us.
Hey, so what I do, Greg, is
right back into it.
Like you never
I had to grab this shit real quick. So what I do is I only buy like a pack or a box like a week, maybe 2, and then open them up and then see what I got, because I just do it as a hobby. If you're doing it to like make money, then like Corey said, you might want to stay out of it because it's starting to go down. But if you're just doing it kind of for fun and you just want to put some shit on eBay and see what you can do with it, like me, I mean, it's not really a bad idea.
So is there any gems out there that like you can still get a hold of by buying by the pack?
I don't really know, because like Corey said, it's so much different than back in the day when like you'd get a baseball card and you could like go in a book and see how much it was worth, and then you would like
hold on to it. Now the market's different. Everybody cares about rookies and stuff. So like LaMelo Ball is probably going to be a mediocre NBA player, but I can sell his rookie card right now for hundreds of dollars. But next year it might be worth nothing. I mean, I had a card that was worth, the one LaMelo Ball card that I sold for $80 last week was worth almost $200. And then just in a week, the value of it has gone down. So that's why I hurried up and sold it. It just fluctuates. It's like buying stocks now.
Yeah.
I stopped messing with the stocks because it's
almost like playing like fantasy sports. You know, if their value's low, the card's low. So, and that can happen within like weeks or whatever. So.
So Lawrence.
So.
What about you, man? What you been up to this week?
You gave me a homework assignment.
I did.
So we ended up watching Dr. Sleep. This all came about because we were talking about the top 10 horror films.
A good one.
And The Shining comes up. Now, Corey, I know you guys have seen it before, but is that scary to you or not? Is The Shining, going back to the original one?
It's funny. I was just watching Hayden's Patreon chat, and he was talking about it not being scary to him. I don't think I watch it, and I love that movie, but it's not scary to me, really. I think it's about the atmosphere and the tension.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Greg.
More than like being scary. So.
Well, I remember you told me, Corey, like you told me that movie didn't do much for you after rewatching it later, and I thought you were crazy. So I went ahead and did a rewatch on it, and I mean, you were right, man. Like, it's not as good as you remember it. Like, that movie is mostly boring.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're watching it the right way. I think it's about the tone, like you were saying, the atmosphere. That's the whole point of it. It's one of those types of films. It's not really a slasher film or really even a thriller. It's kind of like it's like being there, being kind of in that hotel, the loneliness, the kind of watching Jack Nicholson lose his mind, being frozen in type thing. And that's where Doctor Sleep kind of has the same thing, and that's what I loved about Doctor Sleep is it hits all those notes. But go ahead and talk about it, there you go, because I know you've seen it too.
I loved Doctor Sleep from the beginning of that movie all the way up until maybe the last 30 minutes. I absolutely loved it. I have a lot of problems with that last part of it because I feel like it was almost.
it was like too much fan service almost.
Yeah, it's like it didn't match up with the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the movie was done so well, the pacing was good, the build was good, the intrigue, everything was there. But then the end, it almost turns into a fucking superhero movie.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's a scene in that movie that shocked me for a movie of like the past few years. And I don't want to spoil anything, but the little baseball player, the scene with him.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I know you're
that
talking
was like unbelievable for like a modern movie.
That was kind of, that actually touches on something with Stephen King. They said that, and I don't know if you heard the same thing. In a lot of his movies, there's a lot of weird stuff that happens to a lot of younger kids, and they're like, this was kind of reminding me of that. Like there was a thing in the books at least, but kind of the situations he puts like kind of kids and minors in.
The kid orgy.
Yeah, the kid orgy and that. So you know about it. So and the baseball kid reminded me of that, number 19.
So how did you feel about the casting, Lawrence? Like as far as who the woman they chose to play the chick, who I thought did an awesome job.
That actually the casting was like spot on. They actually got someone who kind of, they may not have looked like them, like identical twins, but they evoked their, I don't know if you could say like their presence, like Shelley Duvall, the chick they got to play her, felt like that could have been her. You know what I'm saying? Like if she had the same aura.
Feel free to spoil because this is not a review. So this is just us talking about the movie. So I mean, if you haven't seen it and you don't want to hear about it, don't listen.
The lead female, God, I can't think of her name. Whatever the hat, I can't think of it now.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
She was perfect for that part.
Yeah, she was. Like, and
actually, all those guys kind of were. The old man, I forget his name, but the older guy that was in their little crew. That
this is going to sound a little sexist, but that is the most intimidated I've ever felt by a woman in a movie before. That lady, like she just had some type of intimidation about her, I guess because of her mystique and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. She carried herself very strongly.
She's really good. Even the little girl was really good in that part she was in. So
yeah, how come we didn't hear about this one, Corey? Like, how come this one kind of flew under the radar?
I mean, I heard about it and I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, I saw it shortly after it came out. And then I rewatched it again.
I was anticipating it pretty well, but I was just so unfamiliar with the book. I never knew much about the Dr. Sleep book from however many years now it's been. But
I never read the book.
And when you're talking about a sequel to a movie that's 40 years old, you're not expecting a whole lot. So
I know people were like, "Could this live up to The Shining?" Right. I think it holds its own. Honestly, I don't think it even needs to be.
Hayden says that he was not a big fan of The Shining neither, and he likes Dr. Sleep more actually. So, or he thinks he may like it more.
I could see that. I mean,
I can see it too.
I tell you why I like The Shining better, and I really like Dr. Sleep too. But I'm just that old school. I've been watching horror since early 80s, and horror was different then than it is now.
Very much so.
So that's just, The Shining's kind of a snapshot of like horror when I was young, and Dr. Sleep's kind of horror for today's generation. So
I will say this though, like the Doctor Sleep didn't have anyone who could match Jack Nicholson's presence in The Shining. Like when I think of The Shining, I can't let it go because of Jack Nicholson in it. I just think that it's too good. That's why I can't dismiss it like you did, Greg, because of just him.
yeah.
So, how did you like that they brought Danny back, Lawrence, and who played him?
I loved it, and yeah, Obi-Wan does play him. That was kind of like when you told me that, I couldn't see it. I mean, that's what we know him as, Ewan McGregor. I'm probably not even saying that right, but I think that I liked him. It's kind of surprising because I didn't know how he would sound or whatever, but he was good. I liked the whole plot with Danny, and it was good, man.
Well, what I liked is that they explained to you like what he was doing with his ability that he learned over the years, like basically locking all these things in almost like a mental prison of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
With like what he was doing, like that's why when it got to the end, man, and they're basically like battling with their minds, it kind of bothered me because it just felt weird, man. It felt like I was watching a superhero movie at that point. Like Danny became a superhero, and so did the little girl. They were battling.
Who was that caretaker guy that Danny's talking to whenever he was a kid, and he talks to still in his mind as an adult? The older guy from the Overlook Hotel. You know what I'm talking about? He's like,
yeah.
Well, he's another person who has the ability to shine.
Yeah,
he was perfectly cast too. Like it all felt like this was the Shining universe.
Oh yeah, man, that guy looked just like the original dude. I almost thought it was still him. It's like, well, there's no way that dude would be God.
He'd be dead. Yeah, he'd be dead.
Plus years old.
He's been dead for years. Yeah,
that was so good. But I don't know. I like both of them. I don't know which one I like more. It's hard to say, man, but I just loved what this did with with Danny and all that stuff.
Well, the one thing that was promising when that movie was announced and some of the details started coming out was that movie's directed by a guy named Mike Flanagan, who has a pretty good track record with horror as of recently. So I don't know if you've seen Oculus. He directed that, and he directed the second Ouija movie, Origins of Evil. If you haven't seen that, that's a really good
I don't know that I've seen that
movie
one
too. So
and I love Ouija board movies. So.
The first one,
I thought that one was bad.
The first one's bad. The second one's not bad. So he has a pretty good track record. So
it's worth checking out. So,
yeah.
Greg, what'd you end up watching? You gave yourself a homework assignment.
Well, I did, because you've been telling me to do this for a while now. So I went ahead and rewatched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. 1976, was that when it came out?
74.
74.
Yeah.
Man, it was... Of course, it's dated because of the times and such like that with the way it looks. But, man, I'll tell you the scene that got me the most in that movie. Is whenever the dude first sees him, whenever he like comes into that doorway, and you're like, "What the fuck is this?" What?
Because it comes out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
I just love how he just steps out, and it's like it does an immediate zoom up, so it's like it catches you completely off guard. Like,
you know what's cool about that movie? You're talking about it looking dated. The look of that movie is almost a character in itself.
It is. Exactly. It really is.
Yeah.
So.
That's why the new one didn't do it for me, because it like updated it, but it didn't have that kind of snuff film kind of look. Like this feels like you're watching something that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just got that gritty 70s.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone in the remake looks like models. You know what I mean? And
I'll say the funny thought I had when I was watching it though, because I stayed up till like 2 a.m. to watch this movie, so. Because my kid was awake when I got home. Story for another day, but I kept laughing because like when he's chasing people down with the chainsaw, I'm like, man, for a dude of his size, he's got pretty good cardio.
That's not the first time he's had to do that. I mean, they have a whole sausage shop where did they get that meat from? And you realize they were cooking the people that stopped by there. So.
Yeah.
That movie's perfect to me. I love it.
I will say though that when on that top 10 list, they listed that as their number one that we saw. It was like a TikTok top 10 horror movies list. I think Psycho was number 2, but it wouldn't make number 1 on my top 10 list. It really wouldn't. I put it under Halloween actually.
So those are your top 2.
Halloween and no, this was on the TikTok that I saw. That was like a top 10. If I had to do a top 10, man, I'd have to have at least a week to prepare it because it would take me some time.
Maybe that should be the next episode. Top 10 horror movies.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. We'll do that. All of us come up with a top 10, and we'll talk about it on there.
Speaking of Texas Chainsaw, though, there's a movie I watched really late in life. And when I say late in life, I was an older teen. But that movie has such a reputation. And when you hear the title, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you think the worst. But there's like very little blood in that movie, even,
Yeah, there is.
And it was more, I got to part of the time I got to, which I don't know if you know this, but the little narration before the movie starts.
Yeah, I love it.
Did you know that's Dan Fielding from Night Court doing that narration?
Really?
Yeah.
What is that guy's? What is that actor's name?
John Larroquette.
Yeah, because I knew he had a funny last name, Larroquette. Yeah.
But I had gotten to that part before and heard that narration, and just the way he reads that kind of freaked me out. I was like, I gotta shut it off for now, So took me. That's one that we never watched together, which is kind of weird.
Well, see, this is what I love about that movie. Is that movie is short. It doesn't deliver you a whole lot of backstory or anything that's going on. The only thing is that these kids are going to look at a house that was left to them. They don't worry about giving you details about the dad or anything like that.
Right.
They leave out all of the unnecessary stuff.
It's one day. It's one really bad day.
And everything that happens in that movie makes sense. Like the first group goes to try to find that pool or whatever like a creek or a body of water that they would swim in. They hear the generator going. They're like, hey, this guy's got electricity. Let's go over and see what's up. Mm-hmm. Then it starts from there. Then their friends go looking for them. They're like, well, where the fuck are they? Why haven't they come back? And everything that happened made sense.
And the set pieces, like when the chick goes in there, the second one goes in there, and she goes into that room, like their living room, and it's made out of chairs with bones on it. That was actually creepier for some reason. It looked more real than if you would have had body parts laying around everywhere, the chains like the new modern one had. Like just that whole living room, like it was just...
Well, what was so good about that and what makes the family look so crazy is because everything in that house was so random. Like there was just random shit, chicken hanging from the ceiling. I mean, everything was so random. It looked like a place that belonged to a crazy person.
Yeah. See, that's kind of the point. The point you were making there, though, is like some of the movies back then were like that. You were just thrown into the situation, kind of. That's why I had such a problem with that Rob Zombie Halloween. It's like, I don't want to know why Michael Myers is Michael Myers.
Yeah, I never wanted to know. I like the idea that he was just, one day he was a regular fucking kid and then he became evil.
Yeah, so, I don't know. It seemed like they did that more back then. It was just you were thrown into the situation and you got to try to figure it out yourself.
You know what that was, why that was like that is because they didn't have a big budget and it was like a lot of time constraints.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why. So
I don't want to take credit for this comment either because someone else has said it before I have here. They kind of caught lightning in a bottle with that movie, though. I don't think they knew that they were going to come away with what they got, which was like this huge grindhouse classic, So,
yeah.
Me and Lawrence were discussing this earlier, Corey. It's since we're talking about scary movies and such. As far as like the zombie flicks goes, what would be your favorite out of all the zombie flicks?
Dawn of the Dead, 1978.
Interesting.
And it's not so much the zombie part of that. I don't know what it is about the whole being like trapped in the mall.
It's my second choice. I love that one too.
I love that something about that movie. It's I know a lot of people think it's boring and slow, but just the whole, I can like picture myself in that situation and what stores I'd be raiding and shit.
But here's the thing: how does that movie start out? Doesn't it like a SWAT team? They're doing like a drug bust, and then it's like zombies.
Yeah, they're in like projects or something, I think. Yeah, they're part of the SWAT team. So
mine is, and probably always will be, the original Night of the Living Dead. Even the black and white, man. It's so good. It's so classic. You really can't top it.
Yeah. The one thing I was going to say on Dawn of the Dead is, I don't know how familiar you are with the characters, but the one called Flyboy, that character is from Evansville, Greg.
I actually have a lot of movies I'm going to be rewatching in the near future that are old classics like that. That's on my list, and the next one I'm going to watch is probably going to be the original Nightmare on Elm Street again. I'm going to rewatch
it's a good
that.
one, yes. Yeah. Corey, what's your thoughts on Return of the Living Dead, the '80s one?
Oh, I love that one. That's
my favorite one.
Yeah, that's a good choice to be your favorite for sure.
You know what scene?
It's probably in my top 2 or 3 zombie movies.
The scene that really got me in the original Night of the Living Dead, and the reason it stuck with me, is when she gets in the car and they're outside the car. That I was like, man, you couldn't feel more helpless than being in that little car surrounded by all these fucking dead people.
No.
That's the scene that does it for me.
I've always said this. Like, I wouldn't want a full-out zombie apocalypse, but wouldn't it be like a more interesting life if occasionally a zombie just comes out of the ground on occasion? Like, not like a ton of them, but like occasionally you got to be careful when you're out of the cemetery because one might pop up on you.
Actually, since you brought up cemetery, me and Lawrence are going to do a little thing in the future. We're going to, I think I might have talked about this before, but we're going to take the GhostTube app and we're going to go to like little cemeteries around the area or whatever, and we're going to do like a little short, maybe 30-minute sessions or whatever, to see what we pull up with it and to see if we pull up the same thing, considering he uses iPhone, I use Android.
Are we allowed to curse around the cemetery? Because I know you said that we can't do anything to disturb the spirits. What can we do?
I don't want anyone to do anything that's considered disrespectful.
Like pissing on the tombstones or something? Like what can't we?
I don't know, man. Being like, man, I'm fucking tired. I'm gonna sit down for a minute and sit on someone's tombstone. That kind of shit.
No kicking over tombstones or spray painting anything.
It might get you arrested.
Right.
Hell, the cops may get called just from us being out there after dark.
Yeah.
I don't know, Corey. Maybe we'll have to do something like that when I come up to Indiana there too.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Some late night stuff. We got some other things we're going to be doing in the future too, Lawrence. You want to tell the people about that?
Yeah, it's the Creepypasta Classics. Is that what you're talking about?
Is that the name we're going with?
That's what we got right now. It might change. Subject to change.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, we're basically just going to take creepypastas already on the web and just play them and talk about whether we think the stories are real, bullshit, just give our thoughts on them. It'd be a fun little thing to do, especially since we're all into that genre so much. All the horror, ghost, ghoulies, and just the crazy stuff, man. Serial killers, stalkers.
Yeah, Corey, who's your top 10 serial killers?
Top 10?
Why is a ranking like that so bad? It's like,
I don't think I can do a top 10, but like I was always the most intrigued by Bundy.
Everyone was. It's like
he's like the goat.
I mean, yeah, my top two are pretty predictable: Bundy and then Gacy.
Man, there's that name again, Gacy.
Gacy, man.
Gotta look that shit up.
There's a dude I want to research a little more, and I've talked about this before. I want to kind of dive into his story a little more. There's a guy named Larry Eiler. He was in Indiana, and him and his gay lover would go between Indianapolis and Chicago and pick up guys on the interstate and kill them. But one of my buddies in college was he was his uncle. So I'd like to dive into that story a little more. Larry Eiler is his name.
Wasn't there a millionaire guy who was in Indiana? I told you about this, Greg.
Yeah, Fox Hollow Farm was
that's the
house
place.
he had. I'm trying to think of his name. But yeah, he would lure guys back to his house and kill them there. Mainly drown them in his pool, I think.
I'm looking at
his name. Fox Hollow Farm was the name of the house, though.
Yes, I'm looking at Cornelius now. Cornelius, the race reveal is coming soon. My race is Muslim.
Makes sense.
Is that a race? His race is Muslim. But Fox Hollow Farms.
Yeah, when I started watching that show, what was the show on Netflix that I was talking about there for a while? Mindhunter.
Oh yeah.
That show made me jump way down the serial killer wormhole, and I'm fascinated with so many of them now, like Kemper, Gein, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just because I try to find the logic in it, and I'm like, how does a person just become that?
You ain't lying. Hold on, I got somebody for you. I just found out about him, called the Beast of Jersey. This guy had one of the scariest looking things. I'm surprised there's no I can share this.
The fact that you had this bookmarked kind of disturbs me a little bit.
One thing I wanted to say about the Fox Hollow Farm guy is they did an episode about him on that show Paranormal Witness. I don't know if you guys ever watched that. It was on Sci-Fi. That was a damn good little horror ghost show in the past. If you guys have seen any of those.
Oh yeah, I have.
They were pretty creepy at times.
Oh my god, I don't like the image that you just put there, even in the small screen.
Check that out. Yeah, that was a guy over in Jersey in England, and this is a rubber mask with a mop thing on top. He made it himself, but he would just go out in the middle of the night and just rape women and children, and he was a normal dude with this mask
on.
Yeah, this is what they described. They were describing this to police, and they were like, "I don't understand what you're telling them." And then when they finally caught him, he was driving around one night, and they pulled him over for speeding or something. And he had this, and this is the description of this little mask thing. It's one of the creepiest images I've seen.
Dude, that looks like Michael Myers and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre combined together.
Yeah.
Yeah, get that off there now.
Yeah,
but
I don't like that. Don't like it.
No. No, I think that what really intrigued me about serial killers is it's legit horror, you say what you want to say about Michael Myers and Freddy and all that shit, but Ted Bundy and John Gacy and those people were real.
Well, Kemper fascinated me because, when they talked to him, he basically said that, he's the one who had sex with his mother's decapitated head. And he said the reason he did it had nothing to do, it was nothing sexual. It was, he wanted to do it to humiliate her because he just hated her that much. So I'm like, dude.
Kemper is a weird case because didn't he kill his grandparents at 15 before that even took place?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and his reasoning, and they let him go, honestly. It was the weirdest,
Well, and it's weird, too, because he wanted to be a cop, and they wouldn't let him be a cop because they said he was too big.
This isn't about him, but what's the guy's name? Do you remember the Adam Walsh case though? John Walsh's son that was missing, and they found his head down the road and shit. He was abducted in Florida. He kind of like the whole Code Adam at stores is named after Adam Walsh, but
I never heard of that.
So there's a story, and it came out in this. I don't think it came out in this, but it has to do with that Henry Lee Lucas documentary. I don't know if you saw any of that. The guy that went to the police and told them all the shit he had done. Well, there was like another guy that he hung out with that was a serial killer too, and I can't think of his fucking name. But like he's been kind of linked to who kidnapped and killed Adam Walsh. And the location they found his head, like somewhere in that time period. Now this was way early 80s. Somewhere in that time period, these people saw this van stopped in that area. And there's like this little bridge out in that area. I'm trying to tell the story from what I remember. But there was a guy out there, and he was, I guess, cleared of like the Adam Walsh thing. You know who the guy was out there that the people saw that had the van on the side of the road?
Who?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, dude.
And this was well before he was, any of his shit came out. So
is it a coincidence?
It was, I guess, a coincidence. Maybe he got out there to piss or something. I don't know.
That's fucking crazy. That's some like top 10 twisted story type shit on YouTube. That is crazy.
I saw that told in a YouTube video. I'll have to try to find it and I'll send it to you guys. But I kind of blew my mind when I heard that.
That's a mind-blowing story. That's like the World War I story where the guy could have shot Hitler but didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy coincidences. Small world.
Let me respond to Dustin here.
I guess I can tell you what I watched this week.
Yeah, go for it, man. Let's hear it.
So I picked up and watched the 4K release of Animal House, which I'd seen many times. It was fun to revisit that one. And last night we watched another classic, Total Recall.
Ooh, yeah.
So
I watched that one not super long ago again, and it's still a good movie, man.
Is it better than the new one? Like I know that it's updated. How does it hold up?
I've not seen it. I've only heard that was trash. So
it looked like trash from the trailers. I didn't think of it.
Yeah, it was fun. It'd been a long time since I watched it.
A fun fact about that movie is it's the last film where they used the animatronics. They, before they went to CGI and digital.
Oh yeah,
it's the last one that has I think it looks better with the animatronics. I love the way that stuff looked.
Yeah,
man, Gacy was an evil motherfucker, man.
He was unredemptive. He was completely. His last words on death row was "kiss my ass."
I got distracted because once we started talking serial killers, I had to look up and start reading on his Wikipedia. And like the first thing it says is repulsing enough. It's like John Wayne Gacy was an American serial killer and sex offender known as the Killer Clown who assaulted and murdered at least 33 young men and boys. Gacy regularly performed at children's hospitals and charitable events as Pogo the Clown and Patches the Clown. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Dude, look at his clown pics. They're fucking creepy. I don't like those either.
Not only did he kill up to 33 boys, most of them he buried them under his house.
Yeah, and they actually had to demolish that whole house. They got rid of that thing. Right under his where he would eat, right there. It's weird enough.
I just watched that documentary on Peacock. They have a new one about him. It's kind of like interviews with him that this guy did in prison. And
the paintings and stuff.
It's pretty obvious that a couple boys helped him with some of that shit, in my opinion.
So definitely. But they probably did it on the notes.
His fat ass wasn't getting down in the crawl space and digging graves.
There's two movies that my mom used to always watch whenever I was younger. There's two that stuck with me. When you talked about John Walsh's son, that's what made me think about this, Corey. There was one movie, it was about this kid who was like set on fire by his father. Okay. And like burned him like almost to a crisp, man, and he survived is the thing. And it's like a story about like his just what happened in the recovery and such like that. Like you see the kid at the end of the movie and he talks and such like that. But It was a movie called David.
Mm.
And like, dude, like the movie, I remember the movie was good, but like when you see the kid, like after what his dad did to him, you're like, how the fuck could somebody do that to their kid? Because like,
What is this called?
I'll show. It's called David. It's about the kid who got burned. I don't even know how old he is today. This movie was back in '83, but it's like his name is David Rothenberg. But I'm gonna show you a picture, just so you can get an idea. Oh, oops.
So what we're dealing with.
But yeah, this kid, man, his dad fucked him up. I can't imagine how a parent could do that.
There's some sick fucks in this world, man. Some people just ain't wired right, man.
But yeah, this was one of the movies. That's how bad he burned him, man. Like burned all his skin off and everything.
Damn.
It is a good movie. It's worth checking out if you want a movie to make you feel like shit. And then another movie that they always watched was this movie called Without a Trace, which was about this kid who was kidnapped, and it's all about the parents like trying to search him out, and they end up finding out later in the movie that he was like kidnapped by this old couple who like always wanted a kid, and they finally found him and got him back and everything, and old people set trial for it and such like that. But like those movies, I don't know why they stuck with me. I don't even know why I just remembered them from us talking about this, but
you would like that movie Changeling with Angelina Jolie. This is based on a true story. Did you like that?
I did like it.
So there's this movie I was trying to think of. It was a TV movie back in the day, and I actually found it the other day on YouTube. The whole thing's on YouTube. But I remember this movie when I was a kid about this woman that dies, and like you see her doing the whole like walk to the light thing, right? But like the creepy part to me when I was a kid, and I watched it back now, it's not as effective now as a 44-year-old, but like she's walking through the tunnel up to the light, right? And these dark figures start stepping out from the sides of the tunnel towards her. And that freaked me out as a kid. But the movie, if you're interested, is called From the Dead of Night with Lindsay Wagner, 1989. And it's on YouTube now.
Go check that out.
There was another movie that my sisters always used to watch too. It's this movie called The Lady in White.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That one too. Like there was a scene in that movie when the kid gets locked in the closet where the hauntings and such are happening. Dude, that scene scared the shit out of me as a kid because he sees the ghost of the kid when he's in the closet and just fucking start panic. He just loses it. And I was like, I couldn't imagine.
You know, we're talking about those serial killers. I think the reason why Bundy was the biggest one for me was there was a TV movie when I was a kid called The Deliberate Stranger with Mark Harmon, who's in NCIS now, I think.
Yeah,
and he played Ted Bundy. And I love that movie. I've actually had to buy
Mark Harmon as Ted Bundy. Wow.
Yeah. And then Brian Dennehy, you know, the dad on Tommy Boy, he was in a movie called, what's it called? I just bought it too. But it's about Gacy. He plays Gacy in it.
Ooh,
and
really?
It's really good too. So
going back to Ted Bundy, though, I think why he's so fascinating is because he was pure evil, man. There's no origins. Like, you even meet his mom, and his mom's like the sweetest old lady. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And there's just nothing there to. And even he says, I had a good life. I just felt, it's just like he one day had the idea of just doing this.
Well, me and you talked about this too, and I told you that I think like situations like that is like someone who is praised for anything that they ever do, regardless of how bad it is.
Yeah.
Growing up their entire life, like he's like, "Oh, Mom, I accidentally stepped on this, on this cat and killed it," and they're like, "Oh, it's okay, honey, it's fine." It
was a cat's fault.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been laying there. Kids like that, "Oh, I broke this dish. Oh, it's okay."
But honestly, I think it's because he starts off as a thief, and that was the big thing. I was watching the Ted Bundy tapes, and you can kind of chart his like descent into madness, if you want to call it that. It's like he just starts off as a thief, honestly, and he liked the idea of possessing things that weren't his, and the killing. It's just like it evolved from there, and it started with the raping.
The raping. That's where he leaves off at.
Yeah.
Oh, I got cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he just evolves from stealing to the raping to killing people, and it's just like you can just see it go from there.
See,
it starts off with stealing. It's like the one thing he was good at.
That's the thing that fascinates me about all the serial killers is the evolution of how they start off, and it might be, I don't really want to call it small for the ones who just start off killing, but like once they commit their first thing, it becomes like an addiction after that, and it's something that they got to feed. It's like a hunger, and it's just weird.
Dude, you can see it like when a kid's mean to fucking animals when they're a kid. You better watch that kid because there's something wrong with them.
I guess I turned out all right then, because I did kind of put my hamsters through some hell with hamster gladiators.
Hamster gladiators. That sounds like a YouTube channel thing we were going to start.
Well, I was into American Gladiators. And I tried to make little events for my hamsters to do. That's as far as we'll go with that.
You weren't having them dodge like fucking pellet guns, though, were you?
No, nothing that bad. But like
that's what I'm talking about.
Fuck that.
Nothing that serious, but still some odd cookie type of behavior there.
I did dumber shit than that, Greg. I used to have the ant wars, and I used to think that if you took the black ants and red ants, they would just automatically start fighting, like World War I style. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't think they even recognized that shit, but I did it.
Okay, if I get this group of black ants, this group of red ants, they're just going to go at it.
like a West Side Story in the ant hill.
That's what yeah. Just blended in. You couldn't even tell which was which anymore. We gave up on that. Oh man, dude, we would put like firecrackers in the ant hills and blow them up to be like mortar rounds and shit. It's fucking stupid.
Nobody cares about ants.
Not at all.
Like ants is that one universal, like ants and roaches. It's the one universal thing that everyone will just kill without any thought.
You better kill some fire ants that come after your ass.
Yeah. You know what's weird is like in Indiana, like I remember having ants on like the sidewalk and stuff like that. The little black ants. And they might crawl on you, but they never bit you.
No.
Then
they were the good ones.
Yeah, those ants were fine. Occasionally one might bite you, but they don't purposely try to do it. Man, these red fire ants we have here in the South, dude, they'll eat your ass alive.
They're still mad about the Civil War.
Their granddaddy got killed.
Those red ants are no joke, man. All the bugs down here, Greg, are all messed up. The roaches too. You've seen those big flying ass ones. They don't have that up north. Those big palmetto things.
Yeah, like the things that fly around like that we have up north are cool. We have June bugs.
Yeah.
Nobody hates June bugs.
You guys have like lightning bugs down there?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I didn't think we ever had them.
Well, they're like, I don't know if you remember this, Greg, but back in the day, we could go through like someone's backyard and it was fucking full in the summer.
Yes, I miss that.
It ain't like that now.
Well, what it is, man, is they got those fucking trucks now that drive around and spray that fucking poison in the air and just it kills them.
Yeah.
Love bugs and those guys were awesome.
I swear you could take like a mason jar or whatever when we were a kid and just like do a turn and you'd fill that damn thing in someone's yard.
Dude, I remember we used to think those things were there were so many of them that we would you'd grab them and then like you'd put you'd smush them and put their little goo on your hands and stuff and make your hands glow and shit.
Fucking serial killer, man.
I mean, like, you try to do like the Predator, like, because you saw the Predator, you had the glowy blood. And
did your hands glow?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When you smush them and you put it on there.
Those are good guy bugs, though. I don't like that story.
Well, I didn't think they were going to be fucking extinct by the time I was 40.
They're still around, but not like but not like then. Which
They don't-
is only, 30 years or whatever. Ain't that long, really, in the grand scheme of things.
Not at all.
And that's the thing, man. Like, I can tell you this: I can't remember the last time I saw one.
Yeah.
Like even one, just an individual.
I'd actually
lightning bolt.
forgotten about it.
Yeah.
I seen him one time when I was in Georgia. I was in Atlanta, Georgia. And I seen him for the first time, and they had a different name for it. They didn't call it lightning bugs. I forget what we called
Some
them.
people call them fireflies, and
Yeah, fireflies. That's what we said.
yeah, kind of depends where you're from. Like the whole Coke, pop, soda, bullshit.
Yeah.
See, this is what y'all done created. I'm gonna jump down so many rabbit holes now. When we're done, I'm gonna be looking up Gacy. My search history is gonna look like something of a crazy person. It's gonna go from
Mine's
Gacy
already
to
there.
fireflies to.
I had the pig killing videos for the longest. Remember that?
Oh man,
I
Lawrence.
was watching those PETA videos. I had seen one, and it was a bunch of it was like in Mexico, and they had this pig they were going to prepare to slaughter. They were beating it over the head with like a log, and they were just knocking him unconscious and just continued whapping him. And I'm like, what is this? And from there, it was like a whole.
The one that you played that bothered me. I don't know where this one took place, but it was like some redneck guy.
Oh,
And, like, he had the pig, and like the pig was just doing pig things, and he like kept like fucking kicking the shit out of it and hitting it. He's like, stupid fucking pigs. I hate these fucking pigs.
yeah,
He's like beating the shit out of it. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
That was a serial killer, probably.
Look, I'm not that person to be like, hey, don't eat them or anything like that. But don't fucking beat the thing, man. Just kill it and fucking take its meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
thanks
Lawrence
for that, Greg.
watched him beat the hell out of that pig, and then went and had a pork chop sandwich.
You know what's weird is like throughout all my life, I never had a pork chop sandwich till I moved here.
Really?
Had pork chops all my life. Never had a pork chop sandwich till I moved here.
I never had a steak sandwich.
A steak sandwich? Never had a Philly cheesesteak?
I had that. Is it the same thing?
I think so.
And
No,
you can get like a little piece of steak on a sandwich.
Oh, is that also a pork chop?
It's basically like a pork chop, but it's steak instead. So
Okay. I guess it's in the name. So.
Have you ever eaten a raw steak, Lawrence?
Rare. Does that count, or just plain no touching the stove?
Like
at all?
steak tartare. I think that what they call it, steak tartare. Is whenever you eat it raw. Is that what they
No,
call
I've done
it?
raw. No, I've never done that.
Man, I worked with this chick that worked for one of the phone companies who used to come into my store, and we were talking about food, and she was talking about how much she loves steak and everything. I was like, oh yeah, me too. And she's like, then she goes on to some weird shit. She's like, yeah, sometimes whenever I'm getting ready to cook it, I'll have the whole thing eaten before I even get it into the pan. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. She's like, you don't ever do that? Like, just cut off a little piece of meat.
It's probably a serial killer.
I'm like, what the fuck, man?
That is crazy. Did you call her out on it?
I told her it was really fucking weird. I'm like, you eat almost the whole thing raw before you even put it in the pan? She's like, sometimes.
No, you think you can die that way, dude?
Obviously I'm not eating steak or anything now, but even when I did, I wasn't a big steak fan ever. I was more a burger guy.
It's weird because, like, I wasn't the biggest steak guy just because of how chewy and such like that they are. But, like, once you learn how to cook one properly, it really changes the game. Or when you find someone who can cook one properly, it just changes the game. Because, like,
you probably grew up with that damn shoe leather steak anyway from whatever.
The Dollar Tree steak.
When your mom's got to feed 15 people and the damn mongrels are over.
But yeah, that's exactly what she would do. She'd buy that cube steak, man, and that shit.
Was it good?
Oh fuck! It was rough.
That's that shit you got to beat with a hammer for an hour.
That should be our challenge, Greg. We got to find that stuff.
The cube steak challenge.
Cube steak challenges.
I think I had it a couple months ago whenever I was wanting steak, but I was too fucking cheap to buy the good stuff. I bought that, and I'm like, man, I'm not ever buying this again. Do you know something's wrong with the food you're eating when your mouth gets sore from chewing it?
Yeah, I realized that.
That's my shoe.
So we're also going to do a Sopranos watch along in the near future.
I told you what you guys need to do for that, by the way.
What's that?
Wife beaters, boxers, and robes while you're.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
have-
decked
I
out.
have no issues with the wife beater. I'll do that.
Bathrobe it is. Since you called dibs on.
Oh, that's
things.
actually that'd be a great title for it. Wife beaters, boxers, and robes. A Sopranos watch along.
There
What
you
about
go.
cigars?
I don't know.
Smoke
I don't
them
know.
if you got them.
I don't know about that one.
Oh yeah,
start-
your wife. Your wife.
I light up a damn big stogie in the living room here. I don't think I'm going to be able to keep it too secretive.
Let's put towels under the doors, man.
You know what's funny is I actually did that before I got everything going. It's what took me so long.
All the noise.
It works though. She never wakes up when I'm podcasting now.
Nice.
You know,
Have y'all
distract-
seen the?
you know how distracting it is whenever you're trying to talk to your buddies and you hear from the other room, too loud.
But y'all seen the trailer for the new Conjuring? Was it the Devil Made Me Do It?
I know I haven't because I refuse to watch it. I don't want to. I don't.
You're,
wanna know
but
anything
you're
about
aware
it.
of it coming out, though, right?
Mm.
I am aware. Yes.
Y'all fans of the Conjurings, or
Oh, I love them. I liked all three movies. I thought the first one was the best. The second. Oh wait, was it the second one I liked more? I can't remember exactly. It might have been. That might have been one of those few instances that I actually liked the sequel better than the original. I think it was actually.
I think that's some people are like that with that one. I don't know. We'll see. I think it would have been cool had they done a Conjuring universe Amityville movie.
dude, that would be
Since,
sweet.
since the Warrens had dealings with the Amityville house.
They touched on that, right? In the I
Yeah,
believe
it was in
it's
one of them.
brief. But all those movies are like the same universe, right? The Annabelles, the Conjurings,
Yeah.
all that stuff. It was Ouija is one of them. Is Ouija part of that too? or-
No, it's not. La Llorona is the Nun, of course. Which
You
most
know-
suck.
You know what I don't like about the title though? I don't like the title, man. The Conjuring, the Devil Made Me Do It.
Yeah, it sounds cheesy as hell.
Like if it was attached to an actual story where like a dude did something in real life and that was the title of like a documentary or something, it'd be all right because it's kind of tells you a little bit about it.
Because, like that, what does that title tell you? The title tells you that something's going to happen in this movie that you're not going to fucking approve of. Whether it's in the middle of the movie, the beginning, or the end, you don't know. But something's going to piss you off. That's going to happen probably towards the end of it, and the reason's going to be the devil made me do it.
Well, it's a play on that whole thing though, you know, of possessions and demonic stuff. So it's kind of cool. I mean, I thought it was all right. Go ahead, Corey.
Here's a question for you guys. This may be jumping down a whole another rabbit hole too, but you know, those like the stories that they try to pass off as like really have happened, like the Amityville stuff and things like that. Is there one that you guys think is more likely to have really happened than any others?
I'll say this in regards to the Amityville one. I do think something happened in that house. What I think is that afterwards they saw that they had lightning in a bottle and that they could profit off of it because it was so interesting to people. So they just ran with it. So like, I think something definitely did happen. I'm sure stuff was added to it over the years to make the story more intriguing. It's probably a lot more basic than what really actually happened.
No, Corey. Oh, go ahead.
What I think's intriguing about that more so is the actual real life murder shit that happened in that house.
Oh, about the son.
the DeFeo story. You know, that was Amityville 2. That movie actually tells that story, but loosely. I mean, there's a lot of Hollywood added to that, but that's more intriguing to me.
Yeah, because like, what was his reasonings? Because wasn't everything was normal, and then that night he was just like, he just did it. There was no.
Yeah, and how the hell? Here's my question. He kills what? How did he kill? Like 5 people? His parents, and were there 3 brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
How did the first person, when the first person got shot, did the others not wake up? Because they're like face down in their bed and shit. Like no struggle, I don't think. How they not hear a fucking shotgun?
Honestly,
that's
I
what's
think
weird about it.
that is weird. I don't know how to explain that one. That I thought about that myself, but
Because I don't know about you, Corey, but like the older I get, the more light of a sleeper I am. So I'm more likely to be woken up by some shit like that. And they, like the kids, you could see them sleeping through a loud bang like that, but not the adults.
well, he killed the parents first, I think, and then he went.
Yeah, still, a fucking shotgun, man, is loud as fuck.
So something's fishy with that story.
Yeah, it's
Something's
weird.
not adding up. Check out this though. This was something that is weird that I came across, was the demonic possession of an Annalise Mitchell. I saw this one on YouTube. I was watching. It's a possession in Germany of some lady, and this was real. Like this was actually like, if you read the details of this story, it's creepy because it's like she changed voices. Like you kind of touched on this in the recent Emily Rose. It's kind of based on it, but she was actually, her voice changed and everything, like demonic wise, and it was like a demon was talking to her. And if you would have been in that room, you would, the stuff they describe is just off the wall. I think something was weird with that.
Well, I mean, I believe in that stuff, man. I believe in the demonic possession and things like that. It's just weird.
What doesn't add up is the stuff she was saying, because they try to trump it up that she was malnourished and she was going through like hysteria or something. But I don't know, if you're going through like hysterics, you don't change people. You don't become a different guy or a different person. Like,
well,
I may be. Go ahead, Greg.
The thing that's weird in a lot of exorcism cases like that, because I've watched a lot of exorcism movies, is there's cases to where like they blame reasons like that, but then like the people will start speaking like ancient Hebrew or even like ancient, like another language that they'd have no possible way of ever knowing. So that's what makes those things really weird.
Yeah, I think there was something like that in this case. And she was saying, she said she was 3 different people throughout history, and like her voice would change for each one of those people, and she would say things that were specific to that thing. And it was like, it has nothing. It was just weird. I don't know.
I think what's even more weird is like the people who get targeted for things like that. Like it's like, how do they get opened up to it is what you wonder. Like, why are some people more susceptible to getting something like that happen to them? Is it completely random? I mean, like
the lottery or something.
Yeah, that's where it becomes a mystery. Like, and it's hard to believe. It's like, why does it happen to her and not this person who's, far worse? You think it would happen to someone more evil than someone more good?
Are you guys familiar with the Elisa Lam?
Yeah, Liza Lamb.
Yeah.
It's funny. There was a movie last year called Followed, which is kind of based around that story. We did a commentary on that movie with the director on the channel. But that's a weird one too. The whole elevator video, and then they find her in the water tower and shit.
Not only that, it was like she couldn't have gotten in there because they actually had to unlock it, right, Greg? Because the only way to get inside, you would need to be a fireman, apparently.
Yeah, well, like what they were talking about on the things that I've seen on it, they said that enable for her, like to get her body out of there, it took like multiple firemen, and such to lift that thing up. So there's no way a single person could do it, especially someone as small as Eliza Lamb. So like, how the hell did she get in there with it?
And then close it back on to herself.
Yeah, so that was a big mystery. Is like they had to do that just to get her out. So how the hell would she get in?
That's a fucked up hotel too. I mean, where that happened, like the Night Stalker lived there for a while, and just all the murders and shit in there. It's crazy.
Shout out to Richard Ramirez.
Yeah,
yeah. I remember that whole case. But he did. There was a weird coincidence that he worked there, but I don't know if he had anything to do with it. I don't think so, because wasn't he dead by that time?
No, I mean that was the Elisa Lamb thing was what, maybe 10 or so years ago. He was living there in like the 70s and shit. Yeah. He's in prison already.
Well, what's really nuts about that too is like the fact that movie came out before that Dark Water movie, Dark Water, before all that stuff happened. So
it's weird. So that's one that's always made me wonder, you know.
I know when I watch that elevator video, it creeps me out.
It's weird.
Oh, yes. That's because it's like she's looking at something or someone's following her. I can't explain it. I tried to rewatch it and see. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know.
There's something I watched recently. I think there was a documentary about it on Netflix, but which was kind of shitty. It was about the whole hotel, I think. But it was like they really like drug the damn thing out. It could have been one episode and they tried to drag it out into 4, but they like slowed down the clip and you could like almost see like someone else's foot outside the elevator when she's by there. But it's hard to tell.
So, but go back to your thing of stuff we believe that may or may not be. Corey, where do we put Bigfoot? Where's he ranking in all this? Is he still even relevant?
Yeah, it's funny. You don't hear much about Bigfoot anymore.
He fell off.
See, Bigfoot's another one of those things, man. That has been one of the most. I don't even know if this is a word. Fuck.
You got demonic possessions over there.
The most hoaxed things in history.
Yeah.
Is the Bigfoot thing. There's been more hoaxes with that than probably anything else, other than maybe Ghost.
Don't you think like people could mistake a bear for Bigfoot? Like, isn't that possible?
Definitely.
How do we explain the Patterson Gimlin film?
It's a monkey suit.
They've had scientists trying to recreate the walk with like athletes, and like they're like, I can't do it. We just can't do it. I'm like, what? You're not even trying. Like, come on.
Look at it like this, man. Like, taking it a little more seriously, say there's so much shit in the ocean that is completely, alien to us, that we have no idea what it is,
where the weird stuff is.
Where it even came from. So why can't it be that way in the forest too? I mean, they're all the time discovering shit. So who knows? Maybe there is a fucking Bigfoot.
How do we explain
him?
He can't
camouflage himself.
He's not a man, but he's not a monkey. He's not a bear, but he's not. Saying he has like all the powers of all 3 of those things, and he's like 8 feet tall. So we would have heard something. Like someone would have bumped into him. There'd be video. There'd have to be something. I mean,
not necessarily, man, because you got to realize there's woods out there that people don't step foot in, man. There's a lot of woods in the U.S.
Yeah.
Especially once you start to get up towards the northwest. So,
yeah, speaking of the ocean, I know I sent you that picture, Greg, of that angelfish that washed up. That was a creepy looking fucker, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
angelfish. Let me look at this.
And dude, I saw. Let me see if I can find it. It's this weird like squid looking thing. This thing will scare the shit out of you if I can find the video on it. I actually have another thing I want to talk to y'all about too. Let's see. See if I can.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at this. What the hell is this? This is weird. Hold on. You want to see this, Greg, or not?
Oh yeah, hold on. I'm trying to look at this video. Go ahead, pull it up.
All right.
Anytime today, Lawrence.
Yeah, it's right here.
That's good.
Is this it?
Yeah, let me find that picture that I sent Greg. It showed its teeth really well.
Yeah, this thing was fucking weird, man. I got one I'm trying to find for y'all too. That
Okay. Hell. Yeah, there we go.
this thing right here. This thing is so fucking creepy. I'll load it up after we. Yeah, that thing. What the fuck is that?
Oh, that's the thing?
Yeah.
That was nothing like what I showed. That was weird.
Look at those fucking teeth.
That's why water scares the shit out of me, man. I don't like it.
It looks like an angler. Not an angler, but like a what's that thing that lights up from Finding Nemo?
It says on there that those fish swim like 5,000 feet below the waves, and that the thing in front of its mouth, it dangles it to like lure prey.
Oh, I got a video. I got a
That's the thing
video
that
for
freaks
y'all.
me out the most is this little lure thing.
5,000 feet there.
I'm gonna share a video to y'all. And I saw this on TikTok the other day, and when I saw this thing, I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" I'll make sure to remember to share the audio this time too. Hopefully, I don't get pulled from YouTube. I got pulled from YouTube, but get another copyright strike. I get one like every episode now.
Welcome to the big leagues.
That's because Dustin's always fucking making me play some preview for a movie.
Yeah, don't be doing that.
All right, here we go. Check this out. What the fuck is that?
Oh yeah,
thing?
I've seen that thing.
Dude, that's like that. They say those things are only at like the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. Looks like Alien, man.
Yeah,
that's what aliens look like. We found them. They're just in the ocean.
Video courtesy of Shell Oil Company.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
What if that was true? What if the aliens on Earth were down in the bottom of the ocean?
We don't even know what's like.
The fuck was
honestly,
that boom? Oh shit. Dude, I'm fucking sitting here like my YouTube started playing another video after that one. I'm sitting there talking to y'all, and all of a sudden I hear boom. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Demonic possessions.
Can I steer you in a totally different direction?
Go for it.
So like 2 days ago, it's been 22 years since Owen Hart died.
Man, you have to make me feel old every podcast, don't you?
I was watching a little clip with Jeff Jarrett. You know, he's got a new podcast, and they were talking about that night. And he was in the first match following the fall. So he went out to the ring, and he said, like, he walked over to the area where Owen fell, and he could feel where, like, when he fell, he broke all the wood under the ring. And those are like fucking thick boards that line that ring. And they were like, it sunk in right there where he hit. And I never heard that.
Dude.
I think those are like fucking 2x8s they use.
I mean, how traumatizing did that have to be for people who were in the crowd. Like you saw somebody die. Like you saw somebody just fall to their death.
A lot of people said they didn't really notice it until he finally hit. Like they saw something in the corner of their eye because they weren't expecting it.
Yeah,
I don't think so. No one really had video or anything.
Because they saw him up high and then he just dropped, so nobody could really keep up. But
there's a dude interview with a dude on YouTube. I can't remember what channel it's on, but he was like in the third row on that side of the ring, and they talked to him about it. What happened was like they were playing. Which is they did the same thing on the pay-per-view. You know, they're playing a pre-taped interview with Owen, and that's when it happens. And he said it's dark, completely dark in there other than the screen. So they're all watching that interview, and he said it was like the loudest bang that like hit the ring, and they weren't sure what it was. And then like I guess the lights came up, and he's laying there, and first person ran over was Jerry Lawler. And like he said, his face just turned white. So when he got up there and saw him. So, but apparently like Owen, like this guy also saw Owen like hit and like the lights came up, I guess. And he like partially tried to sit up.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
He fell back.
It's gotta be, yeah. When I was a kid, I first heard that story because I was a big fan of Sting at the time, and I remember my brothers telling me like, "Yeah, Sting does that thing that," and it was kind of like an urban like myth. You always knew about Owen Hart, the guy who fell trying to do coming down with the wire and everything. So it was like a kind of a, I don't want to say a legend, but it was a thing you knew about even as a kid. I remember, so it was scary then.
Did you guys see that Dark Side of the Ring about it?
Yes, I did. I've seen every. I don't think I've watched the most recent episode.
That was really good because they actually interview his wife and kids.
Yeah,
which had never happened, I don't think. So, and she showed the fucking hook or the latch he was hooked up with.
Yeah,
it was insane. She still had that.
That's what, like when she showed that's what really showed me how much neglect that, like, because I remember back in the day we would like ask, was she really justified in suing them? Because can they really be at fault? But you know what, man, when you
I'm totally on her side.
Yeah, days. when you see that latch and the lack of making sure that everything was safe before.
Yeah, I was just mad at her selfishly back in the past, you know.
Yeah.
Just because, like I still would love to see him put in the Hall of Fame, but I understand that she doesn't want to have anything to do with him. So, you know.
I think it'll probably happen, though.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be like his son down the road that'll. I could see, like, once Vince is dead, I could see, like, Triple H and Stephanie, like, donating a big amount of money towards his foundation and them doing something like that, because Triple H has been the guy to get like all the people that they had bad blood with in the past back on board. So
I'll tell you what they could do that'd be a shitty move on their part if they wanted to try to work around it, is they could do like some type of some type of thing in the Hall of Fame that they call like what match number was it on the card? Do you remember?
Like the third, maybe.
So they could do something like the match number 3 memorial based on the events. Yeah. They could do something like that, but that would be probably in poor taste.
I think it's good that they haven't tried to push that issue. But.
I mean, ask you all this. Now that we're on wrestling, you know, do you think Chris Benoit will ever get into the Hall of Fame or not? Because what he did.
No.
They don't even mention his name.
I think we're lucky enough that now they haven't cut him out of like the network shit. Like his matches are still on there, but it's unfortunate because of the career he had. One fucking decision he made on a weekend just ruined his fucking whole career.
This is the thing with the Benoit thing, man. Like, was the guy a great performer? Was he entertaining? Such like that? Yes, absolutely he was. But you know what? Regardless of what he did, how much he entertained the millions that he did entertain. He's a piece of shit who killed his fucking wife and his fucking kids. So that's just what it is.
You believe the whole thing with the head thing, where he took too many bumps in the head and it made him crazy?
I definitely think that contributed to it. I mean,
did it contribute to it? Yes, but the fact that he's looking up on the internet ways to fucking get away with it and such like that before that all went down.
I didn't realize that. I actually never heard of that.
You're not outside your fucking mind if you're looking up stuff on the internet on a how to do what you fucking are doing.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I think he was looking up ways to kill himself that was the least painful.
Yeah, so, but I mean, he was doing that after they were already dead.
Yeah.
So you're in your right state of mind if you're looking shit like that up on the internet.
I still say it was a fucking... Her death was an accident. You know, they got into a fight or something, and he accidentally hurt her real bad or something, and then he fucking didn't know what to do. So he just made a poor decision.
But, yeah, I mean, I can see that, but, like, the kid, man.
I know. No, I understand. Like, I think it started with a fucking accident, is what I'm saying.
You know what really got me on the kid thing, and that completely turned me against him in this whole thing, is when they talked about, like, the autopsy of the kid, how his death wasn't a slow one. That's what really fucked, because, I mean, he choked him to death slowly. It wasn't like he fucking choked him and, like, he died instantly. I mean, like, it took a minute for that kid to die. Like, it was a slow death.
That's what I heard. I heard something like he was in a wrestling match with his family, apparently. I don't know, like he was just
I mean, you had people talking about, you know, he put the hold on him and killed him with the hold. No, he fucking didn't. He probably just choked the life out of him with his fucking hands. But
I bet he put him in the hold to like get control of him, though. You know what? Let's pretend we're wrestling. You know.
Yeah, that's true. He's like, hey, you want Daddy to do his signature move on you? Oh God, man, the fact that just creating that scenario just bothers me.
Yeah. That whole case is crazy. But speaking of the Hall of Fame guys, is Macho Man Randy Savage in or not? Because last I heard he wasn't.
He's in now. Yeah. It just turned 10 years since he died.
Yeah.
I believe it's been 10 years since that.
That's a tragedy story if there ever was one, right?
Yeah.
Him, Elizabeth, both of them dead at a younger age. I mean, he wasn't as young as she was, but
no. But
still,
he had seemed to just get his fucking life on track too. You know, he like reunited with his high school sweetheart. They got married. He seemed to be like over the whole wrestling bullshit, and fucking heart attack, drops dead.
You know, his are some of my favorite stories to hear wrestlers talk about in the back. Because they talked about how he was so intimidating, and he wasn't a tall guy. He was actually kind of short for a wrestler. So it's just, you know, he had that demeanor, man, that just intimidated people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this one up, fellas. It's getting kind of late, so
cool.
Just want to thank everyone for listening, and just like and subscribe if you like what you're hearing here. We got some other podcasts out there too. We got one called Dashing with Greg. This basically follows me and Lawrence along during my DoorDash sessions.
By the way, you moved that to just YouTube, right?
Yeah, I'm releasing new episodes about every couple of weeks. I got the first episode up there now. I do still have the Patreon at patreon.com /theslackercast, but
what am I paying for on Patreon now?
I mean, if you want to cancel it, go for it, man. I couldn't figure out how to cancel the whole thing, honestly. I figured what are you paying for? The old episodes and a shout out. So thanks to our one Patreon subscriber, Corey.
And Corey, you also have an event coming up on 29th of May.
Yeah, we do. 10 p.m. Central. S'mores Indoors Reincarnation. So tune in to see what that's all about.
I definitely feel like getting on that one. That sounds cool.
Yeah, You're going to be there, right? Is that right?
Yes, I want to be there. And
Okay.
what about the shirts, though? Y'all still have the s'mores indoors?
Yeah, s'moresindoors.com. You can go there and we got a bunch of shirts, including a pretty cool Slackercast shirt. So.
Oh yeah, Corey made that one. Definitely a fan. I don't think I ever got that logo from you, by the way. You'll have to send that to me.
I thought I sent it, but all right.
But until next time.
Slack off.